thrilled in my soul. Yes, God is real. Amen. Oh, we love. Oh, yes. So yes, God in my soul. Put those hands together for Jesus. Amen. Amen. God is real. Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 23. And go down to verse 34. Just that one verse. Then said Jesus, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they parted his raiment and cast lots. I want to read that again for y'all take it down. That red part is Jesus speaking. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. I just want to talk about Jesus at his best. Jesus at his best. Y'all didn't come to church for me to stand up here and preach about Donald Trump, because that ain't nothing to talk about. We want to talk about Jesus. What grasped me, and we had some discussion about this at Verdine's party, sitting at the table with Eric and family. Jesus, in all of his divinity, also was supreme in his humanity. And I'm going to get to that, but those of us who accept him and know him as the Son of God, that puts him at the very top. No one above him. But something ought to grab us when we talk about what John says in 3:16, that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. That's a heavy statement when you really think about that. That him being supreme did not have to come down and do anything for us. During Jesus' ministry, Reverend Guyton, when he does some healing with some folks, he doesn't all the time use the word "thou art healed." Even in sometimes when he asks questions, he doesn't say, "Do you want to be healed?" Yeah, he said it, but what grasps me is that other word that he used. Would thou be made whole? And what I'm trying to impress upon you all is that there's a difference between whole and healed. A whole man is not just somebody who's walking around here living and breathing, because the whole man consists of more than just this body. Going into the gym and lifting weights and getting your morning walk in and doing your routine and getting your exercise and saying that I'm a man, that's wonderful. But you can have all of that going for you and still not be whole. You say, well, I'm working on my mental energy. I'm taking all this Prevagen and whatever else they got to make you. You say, oh, I'm doing that because I'm a real man. Yeah, you can still have all that going for you and not be whole. Oh, I go and hunt. I kill 3-4 deers a year. I go fishing. I catch a box of crappies and bragging about how many catfish you wrangled and all of that kind of stuff. I'm a man. But you can still be that and not be whole. Oh, I'm a woman and I can, I've had so many children. I'm a grandmother and all this kind of stuff. And I've done this. I've made my way in the corporate world and I've broken the glass ceiling. I'm in corporate, yeah. You can brag about all that and still not be whole. What do you mean by that, Reverend? Well, let me tell you a little story. Jesus already told it. He said there was a man who had a lot of property. And the property brought forth a whole lot of produce. And he said to himself, I'm going to tear down my old barns, put up a bunch of new ones, because I got so much stuff I can't put away in what I already have. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to say to my soul, take ease, because you got enough for all the time. Another story he told, kind of like this one. There was a man that was rich, and I ain't got nothing against rich folk, but Jesus said this one fared sumptuously every day. Lamb chops, filet mignon. Yeah, he had let Kool-Aid alone. Sipping on vintage wines, following the meal up with Napoleon brandy, silk underwear, leaning back. And there was a man laying outside of his door named Lazarus. Lazarus was homeless, didn't have any medical insurance, nobody to care for him. And the book says that the dogs came and licked his sores. Now, it's funny, they both died. And the one that had all of this going on for him looked up and saw the one that used to be at his doorstep. Except the problem was the climate was different. Lazarus was laying in the air-conditioned comfort of Abraham's bosom. While this man who had it all going on for him was in hell. And he was in torment in hell. He looked up and he said to Abraham, said, listen, let Lazarus come down and just touch my tongue with a little water. And the bad part about this is, when the man was laying in front of your door, you didn't even know his name. But now you know him. And I'm not going to get to the end of the story. Well, Reverend, how do those two stories, we got two individuals here whom you would think had it all going on because of what they possessed. And so what I'm trying to impress upon us is, it's not what we have. We got to look at some of the stuff that we don't have. Because to be made whole is not only to be healthy physically, to be healthy mentally, to be healthy socially, but you got to get your soul straight. Now hold on. Let me. Now some of y'all are looking wherever you get this. Let's go to Genesis. When God makes everything, I'm trying to keep this simple. There was nothing, just blackness. And first thing he said, let there be light. There was light. Called the bright day, and then called the darkness night. He made everything. Then he started making animals. Dogs started barking. Birds started chirping. Mosquitoes started biting. Roaches started running. Y'all know it. And then that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough. If you read on, God is going to do something even more wonderful than just speaking into existence those things that we take for granted. He says, let us make man. Are y'all with me today? Then he said, let us make man. Look at how the text shifts. Brother Stewart? It says, in the beginning, God. Is that right? Ain't no us in there. That's in the beginning, God. We're talking about one God. But now when he gets ready now to do something else, he says, let us make man. Now, if there's only one God, now some of the folks who don't understand and don't, you got to be a believer to deal with this. You got to be on a different plane to deal with this. You got to be really in the body of Christ to deal with this. So we ever see that? I told y'all it was wrong. There's more than one God. Now hold up. Ain't but one big boss. But when he says, let us make man, what he's doing is trying to explain to us is here that God is now fixing to show you who he is in three ways. Same God. But he's taking all of the things that we need to try to understand and embody them in the creation. What do you mean? He's going to put a little bit of him, a little bit of Jesus, a little bit of the Holy Spirit, all in one. That's why he said, let us make man. I'm getting together everything that y'all going to need to help to understand God. That's because Moses wrote this now. So he said, well, let us make man. What does he say? He said, let us make man. So what happens is, we preachers, we do this to try to keep y'all's attention. And God stooped down. He took his hand, shakes the man, blah, 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 blah. We do that, y'all go, oh, wow, Reverend Tom, did you know what he said? God ain't went to no dirt to scoop up nothing. That's something we put together. It said that God made man out of the dust of the earth. All right, are y'all all right? Now see, the dirt was already there. All right, so it said God made man out of the dust of the earth. Now here's where You really need to connect. After God made man, it says, and he breathed into man the breath of life. Hold on. The breath of life. And then there's something that he didn't do for Bow Wow. Didn't do for Kitty Kitty. Didn't do for Tweety Bird. And he breathed into man the breath of life. And man became a living soul. In the book, man. Part of what I am is going back to where it came from. That's the dust of the earth. Somebody help me here. But there's that other part. God don't mind dirt going back to dirt. Because you even buy pledge and all that stuff to keep that stuff off your furniture. But the part that cannot die, that will not die, is that soul. Because even though God has made us special as far as our bodies are concerned, we mess up and use them up. But this thing here called the soul. Since we know that that is a permanent fixture, then we got to try to figure out where is the soul going after the dirt take the rest of us. There ain't no use in you bragging about who you are and what you have obtained. Because you ain't whole till you find your soul. Prove it, Reverend. You said Jesus at the bed. You remember when the man down by the pool of Bethesda? And he's there, he's there. He had been in that shape 38 years. He's just there waiting. Every time. And then when Jesus comes along, he says, hey, you want to be made whole? Want to be healed? Yeah, but you know, the problem I have is folks keep going in front of me. There's nobody that'll help me. I didn't ask you that. So the courage to change. He heals the man. And tells him, you've been made whole. Take up your bed and walk. Now, the next time he sees this man, the man is in church. And so Jesus goes over to him to do some maintenance. Somebody missed that. You do know after your car gets fixed, you still have to go and take it in for some. You got to get your oil changed, you know that guy. So anyway, he's already changed this guy's oil. And he sees him in church. He said, come here, let me talk to you. And he said, what? He said, now don't you go back and do what you did to get on that porch. See, to be whole, you have to try to avoid that which will make you unwhole. That does not come from here. That comes from here. Okay, you remember the woman that had the issue of blood? Jesus looked at her and said, your faith has made you whole. Am I missing anybody? See, to be whole, not only do you have your body intact, your spirit got to be intact. Everybody you see that's got some kind of addicted problem is not necessarily a problem that comes from their heredity. Well, your daddy was this, you're going to be that. No, every problem is not that. Some people The reason they have that addictive thing is going on is because they are not whole. What do you mean by that? Jesus says, when they were complaining about folk eating and drinking, oh, he's eating this thing. He's drinking this thing. That's unclean. He's doing some unclean stuff, putting unclean stuff in his mouth. And all of us have done it. Put something in us that ain't clean. Jesus said, know what he said? He said, it's not what goes in the man that defiles him. Somebody better help me here. It's what comes out. That means that some of that stuff is already in you. Now, I'm going to say this, and then y'all can take it for what you're worth. Y'all, some people just mean because they low down, and that's all it is to it. Just hateful. And I don't care what they look like, how dressed up they be. They're just hateful. How you gonna walk around here as a Christian? You say your soul's right, and don't like other souls. How can you not appreciate the fact that you ain't all that in a bag of chips either? Since I've been here, I had some members to tell me, says, Reverend, I'd be okay with them folks, but they are always talking about how bad you are. I said, well, baby, number one, they just don't know me. I'm a good fella. I'm real nice at times. And I add that because there's something wrong with all of us. But rather than to focus on the negative, those of us who are trying to be whole, thank God for what he has done for us and want it to be done for others. Jesus wanted people to be whole. Remember, I'm making up some examples here. I'm just about through, y'all. I'm getting it. Remember the man that had been born blind? And his parents, they were scared to admit what Jesus had done because you know how folk talk. And so Jesus heals this man. And so the church folk came around. The church people came. The I'm So Clean committee, and they camped out by the doorstep of the man that was healed. Now, believe this not, Alice, they wasn't that happy about the man being healed. Now, that's crazy, ain't it? They wasn't that happy about the man being healed. They were messed up about who did it. And so they asked the parents, what happened in here? Church folk. That man there, that Jesus, did he? And so they get scared of him. I used to be. They get scared of him. I did. I used to be. I used to think they're going to put me out. Now, that might be all right. But the church folk came around, and they said, they questioned the parents. The parents were scared of the church folk. They said, listen, you don't ask us. He didn't come here. We didn't have nothing. Ask him. He's old enough. He can speak for himself. Well, Otis, not only did the boy get saved, get healed, he got saved. Because he starts talking back to the church folk. The church folk, who healed you? What's his name? He said, I don't know. He said, all I know is this. I used to be blind, but now I can see. And Oh, and it didn't stop there. To show he was made whole, he got some courage in him. See, when you get made whole by Christ, you stop being such a scary person. I wish I had a witness here. Wholeness will make you bold. So they question themselves, well, wasn't that man a sinner? He said, I don't know nothing about him being a sinner. I just told you, I used to be blind, but now I see. And then he turns it on them. He said, listen, y'all keep asking me about him. Do you want to be one of his disciples? And they had to leave him alone. See, when you get bold, you don't have to cuss against cussing. Because you believe what Christ has told you. That if you resist Satan, then he will flee from you. The Lord will make you bold and give you enough defense that you won't have to go on offense. Somebody better help me here. You said Jesus at his best. Yep, I'm fixing to close now. When he was on Calvary, I say he was at his best. Here's the conversation I'm going to get. Because these folks are still alive, but they're just not with us now. Lazarus would stop me. He'd tell you, no, Collins. He wasn't at his best there. I was wrapped up in grave clothes. And they had shoved me in the back of the tomb and rolled a rock over the door. But then I heard a voice saying, Lazarus, come forth. I got out of the back of that grave, walked out on resurrection ground. They had to take the grave clothes off me because I once was dead, but now I'm alive. That's when Jesus was at his best. Blind man by the wayside said, shut up, Lazarus. No, he wasn't. I was sitting by the wayside with my box and stuff laid down so folk could give me something. And I couldn't see, but I heard that Jesus was passing by. And I cried out, Lord, give me my sight. He said, and not only did he hear me, he stopped. Came over, and I once was blind. I left my money down on the ground, but now I can see. That's when he was at his best. A woman that was calling the doctor said, both of you boys shut up. I was surrounded by my enemies. They were getting ready to stone me. And that man that you're talking about was sitting down writing in the dust. And he was going to give consent if they had said so to let them stone me. But I heard him say to them, the ones of y'all that ain't never done nothing. You know, you church boys. The ones of y'all that ain't never had nothing to do with no woman. You know, you church boys. The ones of y'all that ain't never messed up with no woman. You church boys. The ones of y'all who ain't never done nothing wrong in your life. He who is without fault, you throw the first rock at her. She said, and then when I looked around, I didn't have no more accusers. That's when he was at his best. Somebody would say, no, he wasn't. Peter would say, y'all don't know. We were on a ship one day. And the waves began to reel and rock the ship. And I looked and I saw Jesus walking on the water. I got bold. I thought I was Jesus Jr. I asked him to let me walk out and go there with you. He said, and I got out of the boat. And I started walking toward him, but then something got weak on me. And I began to sink, and I said, Lord, save me. He picked me up and put me back in the boat. That's when he was at his best. His mama would say, I think y'all missed something. We went to a wedding, and they ran out of wine. And I asked him, I said, son, they have run out out of wine. He said, woman, my time has not yet come. But then we stayed long enough at the wedding. And at the wedding dinner, he presented them with some homemade wine. Oh no, he didn't cook it, didn't stop the grapes, didn't let it ferment. He just told them, bring me the water, and I'll give you the wine. Ain't God all right? Somebody in this congregation ought to help me to finish this sermon. When was Jesus at his best? When it came to you. Somebody done got too quiet in here. Somebody used to pray loud until they got an answer from Jesus. Won't he answer prayer? I need somebody here that don't mind telling me when he saved me, Jesus was at his best. Somebody that don't mind saying I was at my wit's end, had come to the end of my rope, didn't know which way I was going to turn. Friends had left me. Doctors had given up on me. But Jesus was at his best. They were saying no, but Jesus said yes. Somebody ought to help me here. Take your neighbor's hand and say, neighbor, he was at his best when he came to see about me. He was at his best when he walked with me. Tell your neighbor he was at his best when he raised me up and didn't let me go. He was at his best when I went to the water and was baptized. He was at his best when he woke me up this morning. But I think he was at his best when he said, Father, forgive O.C. Collins. Father, forgive Charles Brown. Father, forgive Jermaine Nash, for they know not what they do. And he looked beyond my faults and supplied my needs. He died. On Calvary, he died. But early. At his best. At his best. Now you ain't got to touch nobody, but testify with me. Look at him. Don't have to touch him. Just look at somebody sitting next to you. Tell him he was at his best when he touched me and made me whole. I'm in recovery from being made whole, because I still got memories of when I wasn't whole. But I'm whole now. I'm a soul man. Guess where I am now? Guess where I am? I'm going to tell y'all where I am. I'm in the process now of getting rid of stuff I can't take with me. Somebody missed that. I said, I'm getting rid of stuff that I can't take with me. I want my family to be secure in this life, because my business is fixed with the other one. worried. I ain't got no complaints. I'm fiddling around with the little insignificant stuff that used to upset me. It ain't bothering me no more. Because my soul is fixed. Josh Sheller came this Sunday and was telling me some stuff, and I started crying. And Josh Sheller said, "Oh, I don't want you to cry. Don't stop me from crying. Let me cry. Because when I'm crying, I'm thinking about how good God has been to me." And I'm tired of folks talking about, well, you know, you're a grown man don't cry. I don't know where you come from. This one does. You let the Lord keep reminding you of where he brought you from. You let the Lord keep telling you that if it wasn't for me, where you would be. You let the Lord keep showing you every day who he is. And you mean to tell me you won't cry? You gonna say something. We just done got too quiet. We talk about everything except the goodness of God. You yell and scream if you hit the lottery. But what about the one you already won? The Lord made you rich with his mercy and you didn't buy a ticket. For those who simply refuse to be caught up in the joy of this occasion, I'm going to offer you something right now. I want you to think right now of some of the worst times you've had and then look at where you are. You said you couldn't get over it. But not only did the Lord let you get over, he let you get under it, let you get around it, let you get through it. And I know Eddie, I know good and well, I know Tyler Farrell, I get up here all the time talking about how bad things look in far as, but let me tell y'all something. God is still running things. Don't you leave here at this church in a hopeless situation. Don't you do that. You leave here knowing that if you trust God and if you know he has made you whole, then act like it. Act like it. Right now, I ain't got a dime in my pocket. None of my pockets. But I believe my wife got some money. But Linda, if you have faith as a grain of a mustard seed, door of the church is open. Door of the church is open. If you can trust Jesus, if you want to be made whole, if he brought you here today and you believe this is the place for you, stand and come down and we'll take you in. I'm more concerned about you being a Christian than a church person. So if you're here, will you come? The door of the church is open. Thank you all. We see there's none. Thank you.